Happy Wednesday, happy Thursday. We about to go live with a special friend of mine, talented brother Elijah Blake. You guys know his music as a songwriter and a producer. And you guys have seen him on BET's The Encore. We about to catch up with him right now. Surprise, 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 surprise. We do surprise lives around here. We don't even let y'all know certain things of what we doing. We just make it happen. Y'all thought On Air with David Duane was gonna end the week without a bang. Elijah, what up, bro?
What's happening? What's happening?
Nothing much. Listen, I don't even think they was prepared for a surprise live at all.
No, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all love, man. Let's talk about something positive.
All right, let's talk about it. So all these amazing things you've been doing, bro. It's so good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
We had to have you. I mean, there's so many good things that you're doing, releasing music, being a songwriter. You're on the brand new BET show, The Encore. But let's talk about this brand new music. Cool.
Man, you know what I realized about this reality thing? It's just too much. People want me to be negative. Like when I big up the twins and I show love and I choose not to believe what somebody in the house said that they said about me. It's like, oh, you just want to. They want us to be so bad. You get what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
they want negativity so bad. It's just like, y'all not gonna change the fact that those are my girls in real life. And on the live, there was so much that I got sent that I couldn't talk about. But you know, I just felt really restricted on that live. So for me, I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like contracts involved, and then I snap towards the end. No matter what I say, I'm a bad person. Like, I just want to let the music speak at this point. You know what I mean? Like I said, me and the twins, and if anybody has still got questions about the last week's episode, we're still good. I went to their wedding. We're still good. I don't believe what Aubrey said they said about me was in that context, and I'm just rocking with that.
Right. Yeah. Let's not even talk about the show. Let's talk about this music that you've got going on and stuff like that. Because the last time we talked, you were signed with Def Jam, and then you went on to be independent. So I want to talk about that journey to getting to being a signed artist, working with No ID, then to getting to, becoming an independent artist and really getting out there, challenging your artistry, and then getting these rooms and stuff like that as a songwriter and an artist at the same time too. Because that's a big conversation that people don't know when it comes to your music. Yeah.
So a lot of things. Somebody said a lot of these people speaking, because they're about to catch these hands. Don't even pay it no attention. Don't even pay it no attention.
Right, y'all. We talking all things positive over here. We ain't talking about negativity.
Yeah.
All positive vibes.
Look, a motherfucker can say they don't like you all they want to, but it take a lot of effort to come on a page for somebody you don't like and type up some shit that can get deleted in 2 seconds. I'm just high. I spoke like 3 times. Somebody talking about. Don't let it ain't over my face. I'm high as fuck. Like, I probably shouldn't have smoked before I did this. Anyway, growing up, I just wanted a record deal. I used to grow up, I admired Usher, I admired Michael Jackson, I admired Prince. I just wanted it, but I didn't understand when you get signed, you're not the final decision in your career. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was hard for me. Some people can deal with that. I'm a control freak. I'm a Gemini. And I'm brought in a lot to help finish projects. So if I believe in a song and that song keeps me up at night and you're telling me you don't understand it, you got to explain to me why.
Right.
And I felt like at this point in my career, I had enough accolades and I had enough to back it up to say, yo, like, if I say this record is something, if this record makes me feel a way, you have to respect my artist. You know what I mean? And at the time at Def Jam, there was a executive at the time who I just didn't feel like understood Black culture. So Peter Thea, who was also the president, he went to start his own company. He also went to manage Beyonce. And he was like, hey, I'm moving over to start my own company. Would you like to come along? And I said, okay, well, you have history. You know how to run a label. He signed Chris Brown. He signed Usher. He signed Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, so many people. You know what I mean? And
so many. Peter got all them plaques in his office. I'd be like, damn, Peter.
Yeah. So I'm having way more fun, and I'm getting the same love and the same amount of respect with my artistry. So it's all good.
Yeah. No, and I love the fact that you went from being signed to being independent, because I felt like the label at the time did not really truly understand what you were trying to do. There was I mean, I just want to get fucked up. Like, everybody loved that record, but I just feel like they didn't really get a full glimpse of who you were as an artist. And then
Right.
at the time, you also were working with Rock Nation for management too.
Right. I enjoyed. I got a lot of good tips from Jay. I got a lot of good tips from, I got to work with Rihanna. It was amazing.
Even before you worked with Rihanna, even then you worked with Rick Ross, you were working with Usher, so you had these song placements already aligned with them. You had publishing as a writer. So how did you?
Oh, for sure. And I did that so I could have creative control over my music. So people feel like I went from songwriter to artist. That was never the case. I was an artist first. I just didn't have people to write my songs for me. So I was okay, well, let me go write songs for other people, learn the ropes a little bit, hone and really tighten my craft as a storyteller, so then therefore nobody can misconstrue my words and say what I want to say. You get what I'm saying? So that's just the hardest part. Major labels work for some people. For me, I don't think I'll ever do a major label situation again. I feel like my gift is to speak to people that feel unheard and they aren't spoken to. And that's why I dress the way I dress. Like, right now I'm in like sweats. Shout out to La Brittany, La Nation. I'm wearing her.
Yeah, La Brittany.
But that's why I dress the way I dress, because I'll wear some shit to provoke a conversation, to provoke a thought. Not necessarily because I'm gonna walk outside in it. It's just to provoke a thought for the black guy who doesn't fit the stereotypical persona and wants to look different, wants to talk different, and feels misunderstood. So through my art, I'll talk about that. I feel like I was scared to talk about me being molested for a long time. So Mama Knows, that song is hard for me to listen to. I can't listen to that song. Yeah. But I felt like God put me through that and helped me be in a position to where I could talk about it. And you wouldn't believe how many grown men who are still in the church, grown men that are married, that are being molested, that still can't speak about it. This is why black men are the #1 prey to molestation, because people look at it and say, this happened to you. It doesn't matter if you were 6 years old when it happened. So you did something wrong to make somebody feel like they could try you in that way. So black men, we deal with that and no one ever talks about it. So that's what my music is about. And that's what the take and the stance I want to take with it. And a lot of major label execs wouldn't understand it. They didn't get it at Def Jam. It was like, are you dancing? We need something you could dance to. I Just Wanna was almost a joke. Like, I had this amazing album and they were like, oh, you don't got the record yet. And I went in the booth and I said, I bet if I said, I just wanna get fucked up, will you? Y'all will put that record out and send it to the clubs. And I did, and that's the record they went on the radio with.
So that's the real story behind that record.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Which is cool, because the song right now is, to this day, like, it's doing 200,000 streams a week. So there is something good that came out of it. If you look right now, it's almost at like 60 million streams on Spotify alone, and another 60 on Apple Music. Million. So it is what it is, but that's just a process I would never go through anymore. I feel like my purpose on this earth is to speak to the non-stereotypical black male that wants to dye their hair, that might not have the courage to. The non-stereotypical black male that wants to wear funky clothes and identify as a David Bowie fan. You know what I mean? Not necessarily fit in, but I still am a hood nigga from Florida in some ways. So I put some grills on. I don't really like to be defined. And major labels are built off of structure. So I took somebody who used to be the president at Def Jam and trusted him with my career, and I think we're having fun with it.
Absolutely. And Peter is doing such a great job. I want to shout out Peter because, I've known Peter as well, too, even when I was working on the Mario project. And you actually did work on that Dance in Shadows project. That's Good Times with Buddy.
Yeah, I wrote on the
talk about that record
with Mario. I wrote on Dance in Shadows, and I also did Good Times. And that's the thing. People, they think Climax, because that song was so big.
Right.
Like,
it was.
People don't know that that's Usher's longest #1 of his whole career. I grew up on Usher. I would have never thought that I would have been a part of something that impactful. Right. So to be in that conversation with Climax as it gets brought up, but trust and believe, like, I'm still getting to it. I'm in the studio with other people and working on my stuff every day.
Yeah, you definitely are. Well, how was that moment working with Usher and working with Usher still today and stuff like that? Because Usher is an icon and it's somebody that you grew up listening to.
I think it was the perfect time for me to bring what I do to the table with an artist like Usher. Because when we did Climax, it was David Guetta everywhere. Every song was "Put your hands in the air," and R&B was really suffering. People don't necessarily remember this time because now R&B is the thing.
Oh, I remember.
But you remember it. If you were Kelly Rowland, if you were, no matter how black you were, no matter how light you were, no matter how caramel you were, no matter how brown you were, they wanted you to sing dance songs and be all up and down.
Yeah.
And something that people don't know is even when we did Climax, there was a 4 on the floor under that. And I just was like, please, make it stop. Take them goddamn dubsteps out of the track.
That was what R&B was.
Yeah.
It was R&B pop.
It took somebody like Usher, who's known for R&B, and him singing that song, and that's why it cut through. It was like a sharp knife cutting through a thick-ass loaf of bread. You know what I mean? And then, then it became like a thing. So people are like, why did you give that song away? I'm always like, first of all, I was flown to New York to work on Usher, and we did the song in the studio for him. So it was never my song. It's my talent, it's my gift, melodies, lyrics, but it was never my song to begin with. God puts a certain amount of songs in us to put out into the world. And some of those stories ain't my stories to tell. And I also feel like certain things I went through as a kid, I went through those because God knew I was going to be able to talk about it and help somebody else who isn't able to identify with what they're going through, and put it in song form. So that's what I want to do with my career. That's what I want to do with my music. I want to just say things that provoke thought, that provoke people to make you question, who am I? What am I? Who am I turning into? What am I coming into? What have I made it out of? And I'm going to make my money to live the life that I want to live through songs I do for Rihanna, through songs I do for Usher, through songs I do for Chris Brown. Because they do that so well. Rihanna, her batting average is like, she's 100-0. Like, she don't miss. You know what I mean? So, and that's why publishing is so important, because that's where my cryptocurrency is. It's in those songs. It's in the songwriting and the stories I tell with Keisha and big artists like that.
Right. And that's what I wanted to even talk about, is working with different artists and being in those rooms and publishing, because that's an important thing for each artist to seek, even if they're not necessarily a songwriter in any situation. For you, in starting in that vein, well, actually, not even starting in that vein, but really perfecting that, how important was that for you to just say, you know what, I don't have people that are writing for me, but I want to create an avenue by writing for myself. And then once you got in and creating that avenue, it opened up opportunity.
Yeah.
So how was that process going from that then to that into being in these rooms for you, would you say?
In the beginning, it's like, if you tell me I can't do something, I got to prove you wrong. It's the Gemini in me. So I just remember when I first did my publishing deal with Sony, people don't know that actually Beyonce is who got me my publishing deal.
Really?
Yeah, the power of Beyonce is really real. They say like she's more powerful than the president and her word. But and I want to, like, when every time I've been around Beyonce, it's been around other people, and it's been in passing, or it's been at a brunch, or it's been at an award thing. So it just would be so awkward to be like, hey, do you know you got me my publishing deal? But apparently what got back to me was Beyonce was at a breakfast, and there was a song I did called I Choose You that she had recorded, and she wasn't necessarily working on a project at the time, but her team told the producer, hey, Beyonce wants this song. I think she was pregnant with Blue, and it was like, she just wants, wants you to put it on hold for her. And at the time, so many artists wanted this song. Mariah Carey wanted this song. Yeah, it was like this huge bidding war over this song. Mariah Carey wanted it. I ended up recording the song on Mary J. Blige. But before that song took off like that,
Mary recorded this song?
Mary recorded I Choose You. Jennifer Hudson recorded I Choose You, and it ended up on Keisha. But it was Beyonce was the first person to say, I want that record. And that was the first big song I was a part of. And I guess around the time when she was gonna go in for I don't know, like, it gets a little mixed, but she just happened to be at a breakfast. Yeah, she just happened to be at a breakfast from what I was told, and they were like, hey, who do you want to go in? She was like, hey, I'm thinking about going in on this album, and I'm thinking about going in with at the time my name was Red Style, so they're like, I'm thinking about going in with Esther Dean, Rico Love, and this new kid, Red Styles. And, you know, the power of Beyonce, the people she was eating with, who was at this, it was the heads of Sony. I got flown to New York, and they gave me $500,000 for my publishing deal. Yeah. Well,
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you tell everybody, like, at what age you were when this happened? Because I think that's the most incredible part of the whole entire story, though.
I had to be like 15, 16.
That's dope.
So, yeah. So B definitely changed my life. So, I mean, one day, I'm never one to just make things, like, really uncomfortable. Like I said, every time I've been around her, it's been, like, either around mutual friends or, like, at brunches and stuff. But one day when we have, like, an intimate conversation, like, when the time permits, I would really be like, yo, all this, everything, like, is because of you.
Wow. But that's major from that record, because that's a dope record. And the fact that Mary J cut the record, like, oh,
I was there with Mary. I was in the studio with her. Yeah, and the funny thing is, and this is the biggest reward to me as a songwriter, because I remember she likes the lyrics printed out so she can read it and understand. Like, Mary's big on lyrics, of course. It's Mary J. Blige. So she was reading the lyrics, and this is like 15, 16-year-old, well, not even Elijah Blake, Red Styles. And she's reading the lyrics, and she's like looking at me, and she's reading the lyrics, and she said, "You wrote this?" And I was like, "Yeah, all humbly." She said, "Ain't this about a bitch?" She said, "You done put my life in song form." She said, "I'm sitting there trying to figure out what I'm feeling, and it's over here on this sheet of paper."
Oh,
So it just happened to be one of those times where the song was really, really, really high. Like, I Choose You has that big hook. And at the time, she wanted to try something different. Then she was just kind of like, you know what, like, let's flip it. And we changed it a little bit. But I think once we changed it, her exact words was the colors are different. So she was kind of
I can see her saying that, yeah.
Yeah. I like, so that song has taken me through, like, so, and the fact that it ended up on Keisha, and her and I are like brothers and sisters to this day.
Oh my gosh. Your relationship is like way further than my fingers can go.
With me and Keisha, it's just because we hear each other, we understand each other, we get each other, but we never judge each other.
Yeah.
She knows I'm batshit crazy. She knows when I'm wrong. She'll still hear me, though. It's times where people like, Elijah, talk some sense into your sister. And I'm like, they don't know my relationship with Keisha, because I'm the first one to be like, yo, what the hell did I just read on the Shade Room? What the hell's going on? And she'll be like, I know, brother, but this how I felt. And I done did some shit. Where Keisha had to pull up. Like, I done did some shit Keisha had to pull up and step in.
Why can I see that happening with Keisha?
Huh?
I can see it.
Like,
yeah.
Keisha done pulled up and had to pull a box cutter out of my hand. Well, I was about to, I pulled a box cutter out of somebody, and Keisha literally pulled up and had to take the box cutter out of my hand. So, like, me and Keisha, our relationship is just like that tenfold, and we hold each other accountable for the BS. And we go through times where we don't speak. It's times when Keisha and I don't get along, but we don't go to social media and dog each other, because I just think that looks tacky. If I considered you a friend, and if I considered you somebody I confided in, social media ain't the place for me to bring it to you on. I can just acknowledge it to you when I see it in person, or I can choose not to rock with you no more. That's why the thing with that happened on the last episode annoyed me a little bit, because I'm not that type of person. Like, anything that you see me say behind any one of my friends' back, trust it's already been addressed in their face, and they understand my take on it. So what I was saying I didn't say was not in that context.
Exactly. I think what people have to understand, of course, they don't know you like I know you, or Felicia and Fallon do, or Cosign, and like, and Keisha do. Like, if you got an issue, you gonna call or text, or you might just pull up.
Yeah.
You want to address the issue. It's not like you're gonna go back and forth. And guess what? You want to get down to the root of what happened. How can we resolve this? And if there needs to be time, then let the time be what it is.
Yeah.
But as people, we don't always get along. Shit, I don't get along with my damn self 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. There's things I look back and I'll be like, Elijah, you was tripping. You was tripping. And I hold myself accountable to it. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, I called Fallon after that show aired, and I was just like, even though the one thing I've said that I was just like, you know what, like the whole thing about like, when I was like, I don't know what they are, you know what I mean? That could have been taken a certain type of way. But again, like, I play with my own sisters like that. And I told her, if that part made you feel the way seeing it on TV, I take full accountability of it, because there is like this thing, this trait that people from Florida have, where it's like we say certain things, and it's just like a sparring, like a fun sparring. But people, when I deal with other people, they're just like, yo, I didn't really like how that made me feel. But people don't realize that Felicia and Fallon, they was cool with it because they're witty like that. They're Gemini.
Yeah.
So they not even tripping. So sometimes for me, it's just like, y'all don't even understand that people be real friends in real life. Like, I went to her wedding. You know what I mean? We talked about
this is true.
About this at the wedding reception. We laughed about this at events afterwards. And y'all are just blowing something out that we already knew. Y'all are getting this in y'all time, but we was talking about this and dealing with this conflict in real time. We filmed this back in February and March.
Right.
You understand? So,
and I think that that's what people have to understand. This is not present time. And look, misunderstandings happen all the time. But it's important within our own culture that we talk about it amongst ourselves and have these conversations. Not even just culture, Black culture, but as people, if there's a disagreement, just talk about it. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. So I knew I shouldn't have got high before this interview, but I'm high as hell.
This is you. You know what I'm
my
saying?
song goes, I don't even smoke like this. I don't even get this high. I don't even drink this shit. But I'ma forget you tonight. Yeah, I'm high. So I just was fucking around like, okay, well, let me see if I could just like take a couple puffs and be cool. No. I'm finna lay my ass down and go to sleep after this shit.
No, I feel you on that. Now, there were questions in the question box, and if anybody has any questions, put them in the box and stuff like that. I don't have time to be cussing y'all out, so I turned the comments off. You working with Jordan Sparks, like you guys had that project. I remember getting invited to the release parties like that. I didn't get a chance to make it, but it was just the whole concept of y'all working together with that project. And then you working on some of her solo music too. How was that whole experience? And I know she's currently in the studio now working on some stuff too. Are you guys working?
Yeah, so Jordan is, again, somebody that's my family in real life. People don't realize that I grew up in a house full of women. So my empathy towards them, but also like my sternness, you know, they're like, don't yell at women. It's like, I have sisters.
Mm-hmm.
There's tough love, but I don't let nobody. Actually, there was a time, I remember this. There was a time I was in a studio with Felicia. I don't know if she remembers this. If she's in here, we'll find her and bring her up.
Yeah.
But
there
was a time I was in the studio with Felicia, and there was a producer being very disrespectful. Well, not even disrespectful, but just condescending. And I'd say, yo, do you want me to step in? Do you want me to intervene? Or are you good? Now, granted, she's fully capable of handling herself. But I ended up leaving because I wanted no parts of it. So misogynistic and all that has never been my thing. But my relationship with Jordan and Keisha and these artists are because I see bits and pieces of my own family in them. Right. You know what I mean? Like when Jordan was going through a terrible breakup, we was there with each other for each other. I was going through a breakup the same time she was going through it with Jason. And we were there for each other. We called each other and were accountable for each other. And hey, do you need somebody to talk to? Do you need to vent? Do you need to just cry on the phone? And I just, you know what I mean? And her and Dana are like, Dana's like a brother to me. We work out together. So, like, friendship is a real thing to me. You understand? Yeah. And that's why when we did 90s, 1990 Forever, we just was talking about our love for the lost art of male-female collaboration in R&B. How Kiki Wyatt and Avant would do their thing. How, you know, you would hear songs with Keith Sweat and that girl on Nobody, Baby. Just
I forget her name,
but yeah. Those male-female duets. You understand? So 1990 Forever was just out of us trying to fill a void. You know what I mean? And it's so funny that now people are coming around to it.
Yeah.
But we did that in my home studio upstairs, and baby DJ was in the crib, you know, in his diapers, and she was stepping out on the rooftop and changing his diaper and coming back and singing her takes. Like, we are really cool in real life.
Yeah. And you know what? You just sparked a song of Bridgette Kelly's that I love. You brought that to mind, and you've worked with her. What is that song called? It's
one of my Shit Happens?
Shit Happens. Okay, we've never talked about that record, you and I, but that shit is crack to me.
You know, I wrote that with Eric Bellinger.
Yeah, you wrote that with our boy EB. Both EBs.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, we
What
wrote
was
that.
the
I think we wrote
mindset of that
like
record?
Gay. Huh?
What was the mindset of that record? Because it cuts different in my
I've
soul.
always thought Bridgette Kelly had an incredible tone. I've always loved her tone. We share a lot of the same influences. She loves Brandy. I love Brandy. So I remember around that time, Rock Nation, I wasn't even signed to Rock Nation around this time. Was I? This might have been right before I got with Rock Nation.
I think it was like right in that in between.
Yeah, and they were about to. This was the session. These sessions were gonna break Bridgette. They called in all the top songwriters and every producer, Shay Taylor. Believe it or not, Frank Ocean wrote "Thinking About You" in those sessions. Like when Eric and I got there, like the day after, they was like, "Oh my God, Bridgette's got this song called "Thinking About You" that Eric Bellinger wrote us. That Frank Ocean wrote that. It's incredible. And I remember hearing that record and being like, "Oh my God!" Like,
her version still goes hard.
Yeah, so that's Shit Happens came from that session, and just I really wanted to be a part of Bridgette's moment. I thought she was gorgeous. I loved what she had to bring. You know what I mean? And, I'm still a Bridgette Kelly fan.
Oh my goodness, of course. We all are. But that record for me, when I first heard that, I was like, why did these songwriting ass niggas, Eric and Elijah, have to write this song like this? I wanted to punch the both of y'all because it's just so damn dope.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites from y'all. Before we get back into talking about your own music, so because you listen, you got a lot.
Thank you, man. Thank you, bro.
You worked with Common
yes.
on his project. You got Real and then XOX.
Yes.
How was that, being able to work with somebody as legendary as him in the hip hop world and just in culture too?
So people don't know, like, one of the dopest things that came from me being developed by No ID was just who would just walk through the door. It really felt like what I would imagine things felt like with Diddy and the Hit Factory back in the 90s, or with Suge Knight and Tupac and Snoop and them coming. But like when I first got signed to No ID, me, Snow Allegra, like Snow didn't even have a deal. We was just up in the lounge listening to No ID play Logic beats and hear him play, you know, beats for people. And me and Snow was talking about moments like this, you know what I mean? And I always, when I first saw Snow, I was like, she's the most beautiful woman in the world. Like,
yeah.
And then her voice was nuts, and I was like putting her on to gospel artists and telling her about Kiara Kiki Sheard, and you know, she was telling me about Keisha Renee, and like we would just like discover different singers and just connect on that type of time. So shout out to Snow Allegra. That's like my sister of mine, and we still talk all the time, like when we can. And then Common would come every now and then. He'll just stop by. He'll like talk to No Idea about what he wants to work on, and then sometimes he'll hang out in the lounge. And I, at the time, you know, he was going through the thing with Serena.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, Common's from the old school, like they only address it in the music. So there was a lot of speculation about what was going on with him and Serena Williams. And he never said nothing. I was like, bro, I have a record that I feel like you can really address things. I know that's why you haven't said it. Would you do me the honor? And I was about to drop the BG22 mixtape, and I played it for him. He thought it was he just loved it. And he was like, I'll do it right now. Like, it wasn't where he was like, oh, let me think about it. Let me go home and write it. He literally was like, give me a few, probably took him like 15 minutes.
Damn.
Did that record. And he's always just rocked with me. Like, and he would come by and check on me. And that just was like my boy in real life. So it's amazing to have 2 or 3 songs with him.
Yeah, that is amazing. And I think that a lot of times that people don't even realize when they hear the name Common, how legendary that he is and how much of an honor it is to be like in a room and to get advice from him. What was some like advice as a young artist would you say that he gave you as well? He
just would always tell me, like, you got it. He's like, it don't matter when it takes them to figure it out, because you got to understand, it's not like people understood Common right out the gate either.
Yeah.
So he just would tell me, like, in whatever bag you in, stay in that bag. Don't compromise that. They go let them catch up. Because when he had heard BG22, he was like, I just never heard nothing like this before. And he was like, they might not get it right away, but stay in this bag.
Exactly. And through songwriting on your projects, you talk about a lot about, you know, vulnerability and realness and love and stuff like that. How much of it would you say is like inspired from your life or just even stories that you hear?
I'm constantly growing, man. Like I'm realizing now, like me being Caribbean and me being from Florida, like I have some toxic traits of my own. I'm realizing I have codependency issues. Like if I'm having a conversation, like let's say if I just meet you and 5 random people on the street and we get into like a deep conversation for like 20 minutes, if y'all walk away, I will feel a void.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a part of like my childhood trauma that I got to deal with, because it makes me stay in situations longer than I should. It makes me, when I realize, yo, like this is not really serving me properly. This is not healthy. This is not a good dynamic. I will still stay in it because my body, my mind starts to crave that, my body just starts to crave that routine, that redundancy, that pattern, as opposed to it being healthy for me. You know what I mean? So these are things that I'm constantly learning about myself and trying to put into song form.
Right.
My pride is a big thing, right? And I had to realize, I had to tell myself, nobody cares. Like, you care. This thing made you feel this way and nobody else cares. And when you stop caring, it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't hold power over you. It's just this Caribbean trait that I have that I'm just like, you made me feel this way, and I gotta make you feel how you made me feel. And I will go through any measure to get even or to be petty and to do this thing. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's not productive. So
right.
I'm learning that about myself. And it's like, bro, do you want to end up in jail? Do you want to end up getting sued over some shit? Like, you just gotta like get out of it. So, like I said, I'm constantly now understanding what I need to be doing to grow, and I want to share that with somebody in their walk, because I know it took a while for me to get to this place.
Yeah, and a lot of your projects show growth. I mean, dude, you've released EPs to albums, and they've all been so artistic. Especially 1999. No, sorry, 1990 Forever.
Yeah.
Like that project too was dope. Autobiography.
Audiology,
my bad.
Everybody calls it autobiography. And that was like my first project post Def Jam.
Right. So that was the first independent project for you.
Yes. And I just got so tired of like everybody thinking I was like the good guy from like the Elijah's just a weird, deep, emo singer-songwriter. So everything I did was so shocking to everybody. Like if I cussed, they were like, oh my God. If I wore something, they was like, oh my God. But then I was like, well, August Alsina just did this and y'all didn't even like bat an eyelash. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to be butt ass naked. Because I had to do the most shocking thing for them to stop thinking that I was just like, so everybody was putting me in this box of safety. And I wanted to just like dead it. I wanted everybody to know I wasn't on Def Jam no more. I didn't want to be controlled by a machine no more. I wanted to be free. So I was like, okay, let me just take an album cover that embodies freedom. When you look at it, you're going to say, oh, I know Def Jam ain't let them always like this on this cover. I know they ain't selling this record. Like, I just wanted to be free from that.
I was like, go off, E.
So people think I just wanted to be naked. That wasn't the case.
There was true an art and meaning to it. So tell them about the meaning of that art, because it was definitely misconceived as well.
It was just complete and total liberation for me. Like, I just got tired of being misunderstood by what I wore, by how I dressed, by how I spoke, and I'm like, how y'all trying to figure me out? And I'm still learning me. You know what I mean? Like, how can you tell me I'm me every day, every second of my life, and I'm still trying to figure me out? Y'all gotta understand, I'm Caribbean, I'm a Gemini, and I'm from, like, there's so much. There's so much to process, to sift through. You get it? But now I'm just at a place where I don't fear nothing. It's just like, say what you want to say. You feel how you want to feel. Because at the end of the day, I know that you're coming to me because I provoked a thought. And that's what art is. Mm-hmm. That's where this is the area I always wanted to exist in. Even after the Aubrey thing, people was coming on my page and like, you can not agree with me. I'm still working on, I don't really tolerate the disrespect because I know my mouth is crazy. So if you're putting some shit that I know I'm going to react a certain type of way and I'm still working on me, then I'll block you. But then when I would have blocked them, they were following me. So I was just like, oh, it's like this weird infatuation type of, okay, cool, whatever. But at least I'm in a space now where I'm provoking a thought, provoking an extreme emotion. Because other than that, I don't want to exist in the gray anymore.
Right.
I don't necessarily even care to clear up certain rumors about me because it's uninteresting. And we give away everything on social media. We give away, our location. We give away everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want to believe that so bad and that helps you in your being and it makes you comfortable,
right. Like, by all means, believe.
By all means. Yeah.
No, I love how you put that. Let's get to some questions that people have been asking as well, too. Let's talk about this new single and this new project that you've got coming out, this brand new album. The new single comes out, Dreams, with Trinidad James. How did you guys link up for a collaboration? Because that's going to be the shiznit. And you just shot the video, too?
We just shot the video. I can't wait for y'all to see it.
So that single and the video, how did that whole collaboration come about for y'all?
So I met Trinidad James at a City Girls session, actually.
Oh.
And when
we're
I
going to talk about that, too. The City Girls session.
Yeah. So I met Trinidad James at a session for the City Girls. And I've always had like a love and respect for him. He was on Def Jam we got signed like around the same time. So I've always I've always admired his fearlessness to wear certain things. Like fashion to me is the best form of expression.
Oh,
even when I wasn't as knowledgeable as I am now with fashion, I can look back at what I wore and be like, okay, I was feeling like this. Like I wore that because I was in this space. So I can always tell how somebody feels or where they're at with what they're wearing. So Trinidad James has always done a great job with expressing and trying to break down gender norms and mixing patterns and just understanding. So when I did this record, originally I had St. John on it. And I wanted it to, and he's another person who's doing his thing in fashion. And, you know,
definitely.
I was like, yo, so I called Trinidad. I was like, yo, I got this record with St. John. And I just want to do a video that's like just fashion moments. And like we came out the 70s, you know, Trinidad got the curls in his head and all this stuff. Just in the clearing stage, it didn't work out with St. John, but Trinidad, to me, when we shot the video 2 days ago, it all made sense. And he was so cool. He understood the assignment. And yeah, I'm just a huge fan of Trinidad. And anybody who's able to stand up and break down gender norms, especially a black male, because it's so toxic in our culture. A white guy can put on anything and be fly in it. And even we as a people will be like, oh my God, he's fly. But then you let Chris Brown, me, anybody do the same thing, August Alsina or whoever. Oh, you must be gay. Something must be wrong with you. You must be on drugs.
There's always that. They try to put that whole thing out there first.
But that's because of their own internal trauma.
Yes.
And I hope the people watching understand that. That's their own internal trauma, and they haven't necessarily dealt with that. So they're used to being the person that hung out with the football players, but secretly had this secret and didn't know how to deal with it. And they're used to being the person that was dating girls and had this secret, didn't know how to deal with it. So then now that they feel like they're free of that secret, they're putting that on everybody else.
Yeah, projecting that energy. Yeah.
So if you dress a certain type of way, you got to be gay because that's how I was when I was blah, blah. Or if you don't speak ignorantly and you can articulate yourself, and something got to be wrong with you because how about some people just refuse to be defined?
Yeah. Ain't got some common sense, if I can also add too.
Thank you. So I personally don't care what Trinidad likes. That's not a conversation that I don't care because I think he's fly. I think his art, and honestly, I don't want him to be defined. I don't want to know. If Trinidad was to try to pull me aside and be like, hey, bro, in the middle of the video or in the middle of the session and be like, hey, bro, this is my wife or whatever, I wouldn't care because I'm a fan of his artistry.
Right.
And I just realized like a couple years ago, I have something called damn, why am I not thinking of it? But it's basically when you see and you hear things in color. So when I
I
hear
know
a
what you're
song,
talking about. Yeah.
yeah. So when I hear a song, I see a color. When I see a person and somebody makes me feel a way, they're a color to me. So that lets me know I was always kind of like, you know, some people say it and they're like being hella pretentious and it's like, oh, I don't see people, I see energy. And, you know, that might be their thing. But for me, I really hear lyrics. I see a color. If I smell something, it's a color to me.
Right.
Oh, it's called synesthesia.
Okay.
So my thing is I'm just really trying to fully experience the place that I'm at in life and the way that I love and the way that I am and the way my art speaks and makes people feel and putting it in song form so that it connects to that group of people who don't necessarily feel like there's a space for them. You know what I mean? It's like, what about the black guy who want to wear grills and who will knock you out if you talk crazy to him, but still loves Dolce & Gabbana runway looks? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, where is he going to get?
Because there are those guys. There's tons of them.
What? Now more, and I think social media is showing us that. Like Odell Beckham and so many people, now we're like, they're acting like we just existed. No, it's always been there. Like, I wanted to change my hair color all red yesterday, and the day before I wanted to change it blue. That's just how I express myself. I get bored really easy. It don't got nothing to do with nothing. Too. Yeah, so for me, I'm loving like that I could be this free with my artistry. Even me and my ex-girlfriend, we haven't spoken for 4 years. And I woke up and she was on my spirit. And it's so weird because when I went to check on her, she had just unblocked me the day before. So
did you notice that she had unblocked you?
No, I just woke up and she was on my spirit. And this is the girl I was gonna marry. And she was the first one I told that I was molested and everything. And you know, even though we didn't work out, I just wanted her to know that she like changed my life and in a way probably saved my life.
Yeah.
And when I called her, she was kind of emotional because she was like, yo, I had to do a long drive and I thought about you. You know what I mean? So there is something about energy and kind of where I'm at right now is just like, I just want everything to really make sense because I feel like God put me on this earth to tell a story. It's bigger because me growing up in church and being able to do the riffs and the runs, that's fun and that's cool.
Yeah.
But my gift for storytelling is like, that's what I'm going to leave on this earth when I leave. Like songs like Mama Knows, songs like 6 Years Old, and those type of records, songs like Don't I Deserve. You feel me? Like that's where I feel like people gonna be like, oh, Elijah Blake like really came out here and he said some shit. Yeah.
And you've been saying some shit through all these
I'm saying
years.
most shit on this album, but this album really cool. It's really, I'm not doing no riffs and no runs because I didn't want anything to distract from the project. So every project I want the freedom to do some shit that niggas would be like, what? It's all about tone, pocket. This go around for me. Tone, pocket, feeling, emotion, and the stories and how and feeling cool for the weirdo kid to feel cool on this album. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I wanted to feel like you going through your closet and trying on outfits. Like that's the vibe I'm on. And Killer B, who executive produced this project with me, he did the Ariana single where he co-produced on it. And he was just like, yeah, nigga, like everybody know you can sing. You know, like they know you can sing. It's like, okay, and then what? So ever since Kim Burrell came out, everybody could do runs. But he was like, the reason I rock with Elijah Blake is because of that coolness, like in that emo moment and like those things. He's like, tap into that. Let's really tap into that and really make a cool project. So
I think that's what attracted me to your artistry and personality was that emo-ness, the mystique-ness, and just the chillness. Like even though you be doing them riffs and them runs, and people can go check out the catalog of music that you have with that, you're not trying to be seen. You know what I'm saying? Like you just always been that cool guy, that Gemini.
Thank you. And I'm resting in it now. I'm tired of, you know, it's like, do I feel like I was like my character was like portrayed a lot differently than what happened, a lot out of context? Yes. But do I still care to clear it up? Maybe not. Maybe not, because I feel like people who know who I am watched that and was like, what? Like, I know it didn't go down like that. I've never been somebody to bite my tongue. Like, I've never been somebody to come and be like, did you? Even Keisha will tell you the first thing about me, she's like, you got a slick mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That's never been a secret. So people watching that show who thought Elijah Blake was like super nice and super quiet, they're like, oh my God, like he's catty. It's like, no, I'm a songwriter.
This is just the first time that people are really seeing you in the public.
Yeah, people don't know how to play like that. They don't know how goofy I am. I don't mean no harm by it, but if that's how they want to take it, it's all good. But I've been this way, and people either love me or hate me for it. But, you know, K. Michelle, all of them will tell you, like, I've always had a quick mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even with any malice. No. It's a sport. Like, I'm a songwriter. Words are my superpower. You know, like even now, after hearing you know, Aubrey left the country, I feel bad for her.
Yeah, I'm just hearing about that too.
Yeah, I don't hold malice like that. We have a disagreement. We don't agree. It is what it is. I'm gonna check you right then and there, and I'm gonna tell you I don't like that. But do I want somebody like to get on a boat and sail across the ocean? No, it should never be that bad.
Right.
Do I still feel how I felt about your approach to things? Yes. But I believe in forgiveness. I believe in people are human. I believe that we naturally want to control things. I believe that, you know what I mean? That's even with the twins. Once I spoke to them individually and we was like, we good, I don't care to get cleared up with other people. I love Fallon's tone. Yeah. Subconsciously, did I want to hear, what am I going to say? Subconsciously, would it have been easier to let Fallon and Felicia lead most of the songs? Obviously. Mm-hmm. Why? Because their attention to detail, how quick they record, would have helped get the project done faster. It's an impossible situation on the show.
Yeah, and not only that, but their initiative, which they did take on the show. And I want to say, like, shout out to our girls, because when they got down there in that studio, they were like, look, we got some records. Let's get straight to work.
And it's not even on the show. It's not even just on the show. They're like that in real life.
Yeah.
They're like that in real life. When we've worked on Empire together, they're like that in real life. But it's easy to turn, because they're so passionate about it, it's easy to turn that into good TV, because they gonna give you just gotta, they're Geminis like me, you just gotta get them fucked up one time, and they gonna tell you, and
it's over.
They gonna tell you what it is. You feel me? And that's how it was with me. It's like, I think once people realize, like, oh, Elijah got a really quick mouth, so we really just kind of gotta get him in a position where he's backed against the wall and he gonna snap. And that's the part that God's still working on me on. I shouldn't have been that easy to provoke, you know, but yeah, it's a TV show and they got what they wanted out of it, and it is what it is. It's like, I'm gonna keep telling my stories, and like I'm gonna keep being a goofball, and the people who want to rock with me gonna rock. Yeah. And it seemed like the way it seemed like in my joint, even the people who don't want to rock are secretly rocking. So, in the words of,
they all rocking. I bet them Spotify and Apple Music numbers went up too.
Everything went up. All right. And it's up and it's up and it's stuck.
Right.
You feel me? It's like, because what they ain't gonna do is act like I wasn't showing up and giving them looks every episode. You feel me? Like, I ain't want no problems with nobody. I wanted to record the songs. I wanted to make everybody sound good. They didn't get the part of this episode where I said I was gonna make Misha and Iris my personal projects, and I helped them get on ad-libs. And them 2 parts that they talking about that they on is because I made it a thing to get them on certain records. Yeah. And that's not no dig at the twins, because the twins was trying too, but as y'all seen, some of the ladies was upstairs sleeping. Yeah. That's frustrating.
And they weren't doing a damn record.
It is what it is.
I mean, it's just the truth. And there's so much power in that statement in itself, doing the record. Do it.
For
Take
sure.
the opportunity. Take a chance.
For sure.
And that's what you've been big on with your
very,
whole
because I'm used to
career.
being people don't understand. I'm used to being in the studio with people like Mary J. Blige, people like Usher, people like Chris Brown, who are workaholics, Carrie Hilson, Kehlani, Keisha Cole. When they
The
show
records
up,
that you and Kehlani have,
that's what I'm saying.
I
But
need them
like,
to do the research.
say what you want about these artists, but when I show up, they know, like, yo, let's get to work. We'll still laugh, but they work. I've never been in a situation where somebody is upstairs sleeping.
Right.
I don't. And these are people that could be sleeping. Mary J. Blige did not have to show up to the studio to work with me.
True.
She could have been somewhere sleeping. She was there. And when she got tired, she was like, she asked her sister to go get her a baby, the light blue Red Bulls, and told me that those are the Red Bulls that I should drink because there's no crash to the light blue ones.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Shout out to
learned that
Mary.
from
That might be something I'm going to try. Have you been doing that too?
Oh, yeah. Anytime I drink Red Bull, I drink the light blue because I hear Mary in my head. So I was like, you got to do the light blue ones. But I can't do her accent because I can't do the New York one. But she just was like, you got to do the light blue ones, baby, because the blue ones, that's where you're going to crash at. So, yeah, man, like I'm having the time of my life. I have a great team. I have great management. I have amazing, I don't want to use the word friends too loosely. I have amazing friendships. And I have a group of friends that I consider family. And I'm having fun with it because what I realized is I've done enough to where can't no motherfucker hire me or fire me in this game. I'm still going to be Elijah Blake, whether y'all like what the fuck I said on the show, whether y'all like what the fuck I say on this interview, whether y'all like what the fuck I say on the street. I'm still going to be me because I write my own songs. I write songs for other people. I sing my own songs. Can't nobody do shit for me. Can't nobody make or break me. And I thank God every morning for that.
Yeah.
You can either get on the train or get ran over by the train if you in the way, or you can watch the train pass by. It's on you. But I just thank God that he has given me the tools to do it my way. At the end of the day, it's like I don't got to go to Neo to write me a song. I don't got to go to the Dream to write me a song. Then thanks for my dad being over at Apple and understanding how the infrastructure worked. People don't realize I was putting out music and touring London at 15 years old, at 14, 15 years old, because my dad taught me how to put out independent music. I was making $60,000 a month when I was a kid.
Yeah. And that's huge.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, I sold 60,000 and was making about, actually, no, it's a little less than that because I want to tell the truth. But I was making money that a high schooler should not have been making. So I'm going to go straight to Spotify. I know how to get directly to the consumer. And y'all going to stream, y'all going to listen. My songs have streamed more since I've been off Def Jam. Like my albums have charted higher. I never had a top 5 album. You know what I mean? I never had a top 5 album when I was on Def Jam. I had a top 5 album with Audiology. And then Bijou 23 went top 2. So, you know, granted it was on Apple Music, but I'll take it because the money came right to my bank account.
Mm-hmm. And it was nothing but hard work and consistency.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest message that people have to get with our conversation right now. Hard work, dedication, and consistency is going to get you far.
Yeah, and put yourself in a position where no one can conflict because people are going to disagree with your choices. They're going to disagree with your artistry. But put yourself in a position where it's your art, it's your vision, it's your magic, it's your gift. Anytime somebody gets in the way of my gift and my art, I can respectfully say that's unfortunate, but I'm going to do it my way. I wasn't at liberty to do that with the major label. It was like, well, when you change your mind, let us know and we'll give you a release date. When you change your mind, let us know and you can put this out.
Wow.
If I put it out on my own, there's been times I had tried to put it out on SoundCloud, it would get pulled down. There was times I tried to put it out on YouTube, it would get pulled down. That was so crippling to me. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
There was so much control that they wanted to have over your career and what you were doing, even if it wasn't something that you wanted to. Did you just want to put out there for free?
People who invested into it. It wasn't even like it was No ID who helped shape my sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like he was in like a real weird position because Dion cares about his artists. Like he cares about Janae. Like I believe that he loses sleep about if Janae is at odds with the label. He loses sleep if Snow is at odds with the label. Like he cares. but it's even bigger than him at a major label because you have so many other pieces. Radio has to be in sync. Marketing, publicity, everything has to be in sync. So it just, to me, at that point, it just becomes too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it just gets a little frustrating.
It's a lot of politics. And what would you say, like, was the biggest thing that you learned, even going from Red Styles then to Elijah Blake? What were some of those things that you learned about the industry?
That, at the end of the day, it's really, you got to believe in you. You got to rock with yourself. You got to be in your own corner because people going to change their opinions. They going to change like the wind. You feel me? Like, I've been a part of songs that I remember motherfuckers like, oh, that song is awful. It's not a good song. And then the song comes out and then like charts and like, I've always believed in that song. It's like, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. You're just, you believe in it because other people believe in it. So how could I believe in you to tell me you got to really understand on Black and Blue? I brought that to the label at one point. And I was like, I believe that this is a big record. No, I just don't hear it. That record, 16 million streams on Spotify alone. And then another 12. It was sitting on my laptop for like 5-6 years.
Wow.
5 or 6 years after I did that record, and I still put it out and we're at 16 million on Spotify. You feel what I'm saying? So imagine what it would have done 5 years when it first came out. Sam Smith wrote me about that record and was like, when I asked the producer to go back in and add some stuff, he DM'd me. He was like, I love that song. He had it down to the run that I did in the second verse. That's how I know he listened to it for real. You know what I mean? But had I given that record to Sam Smith, everybody would have been like, "Oh yeah, biggest song of the year."
Yeah. Are there some records that you have that were pitched for artists that are on this next project?
Not this next project, because like I said, I've gotten into a place where I only tell my story.
Your story, yeah.
And what I want people to connect with me on. So everything is specifically written with my fans in mind, my family in mind, my legacy in mind. But in the past, there definitely has been records that I put out that artists slept on.
What are some of those records?
Let me see. Because then, BG 22 I did that mixtape in a week because Jay was like, okay, I was like, all these records is coming out. I got these features coming out on Rick Ross, and don't nobody know who Elijah Blake is on his own time. Can I just put out something so then when they don't think I'm Nate Dogg and they don't just think I'm a features artist? And he was like, okay, you got a week. I'm going to give you a week of studio time. Come out with a mixtape or whatever. Then I turned it in. He said it was too good. And I'm like, I called No ID. I was like, No ID. Jay said, I can't put this project out. Help me. You know what I mean? So, but I learned so much from like the Rock Nation and RDM days. It's just, that's so beautiful. I always want when people hear me speak about my Def Jam experience that they don't associate that with RDM or Rock Nation because those are two different entities. Who I am as an artist, even how I write for other people, has been heavily impacted by No ID's approach in our conversation. Yeah, and Jen, who I met, who's on my team, on my management team, I met her. Jay had her doing marketing at Rock Nation forever. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I remember Jen.
For sure. And when I speak about Def Jam, Peter was the one person that I liked at Def Jam. So I kind of created my own little team. You were
grabbing people. You were like, I like you. Let's stay in touch. I like you. Let's stay in touch.
Yeah, there were people that I trusted that believed in me, that got my vision. And I never forgot it. So I went to do a radio interview one time, and they just got done interviewing Mario, and I saw Peter with Mario. We was like, yo, and it just fell into place. And when Peter was like, yo, we need a day-to-day or somebody I could trust to be on the field and touch the people, I was like, Jen, and at the time Jen was doing Cash Doll, but I was like, Jen, I need you. And she came, stepped right in, and Jen is like, she reminds me of Baby J. Like she's Baby J Brown, I'm telling you. But I'm trying to think of which project. I feel like there was a lot of songs on Shadows and Diamonds because that was around the time where
that was my project though.
Yeah, Shadows and Diamonds was the time where if you got a record deal, whether it was RCA, whether it was Atlantic Day, we're putting you in the studio with Elijah Blake to try to get for a week minimum. You know what I mean? So I feel like there was a lot of records on Shadows and Diamonds that I, had for other people that they slept on. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep it. I just can't think of the track list right off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I'm in a really, like I said, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I'm in a state of becoming.
Yeah.
That's so fun. And so even me and my style.
I like that you said that, because
yeah.
I also have been telling people recently, now stepping in the age of 28, I tell people I'm becoming. I'm not quite who David is going to be or David Duane, because people got to understand what they see on the internet is different from what reality is too. And
yeah, people want everything microwaved, right? Like now you can get on the internet and be in China with the click of a button. People want you to speed your process because it makes them comfortable. It's like, chill. Like, don't rush me. Like, rush your own shit. But like,
exactly.
I'm good on this side. I'm actually enjoying the ride. I like some days when I wake up and I don't know what the hell going on and I'm trying to figure me out. I enjoy that process. I haven't been able to enjoy that side of me. People don't understand. I got signed when I was like 15. You know what I mean? Like, it went from the development deal with Songbook Atlantic right into Sony, right into Def Jam. Then Climax came out. Then I'm in the studio with Rihanna. Like, that's a lot for somebody that just came out of high school. I didn't even, you know what I mean? Like, after 10th grade, I'm in Atlanta doing homeschool, and everything happened for me so fast.
Mine's a process. It's like
I was broke one week.
Experienced that.
Broke 1 week. At 15, scared to tell my mama, ask her to send me money because she's gonna say, "Bring your ass back home and go to college." So broke that I'm like, people think I'm anemic because I'm shaking. To then Jupiter Love coming out, and then now I'm getting $6,000 checks in the mail.
Don't even talk to me about that damn song.
But I was a kid. I didn't understand how publishing works. I remember Trey Songz and Troy Taylor, like, they called me and helped me set up my stuff online to get money. And I still didn't understand how publishing worked. I was broke, like teaching dance classes at it was a dance studio called Powerhouse Dance Studio. I had to ask the lady Tammy, God bless her soul, for like advances on my paycheck. By the time them Trey Songz checks started coming in, I was like 4 weeks ahead. She was paying me for 4 weeks later.
Wow.
Because I just didn't want to ask mom, and I wasn't even buying nothing extravagant. I just was trying to get food.
Yeah,
you feel me?
Trying to live.
Just trying to live, so I didn't have to move back to Florida. Then, then Jupiter Love comes out, and then Trey's breakthrough album is ready. They're like, oh, it's a little nigga named Red Styles, who wrote that. I go from that to a penthouse in Buckhead. These are like just jumps. Nothing was gradual. Like being so broke, teaching at a dance studio. Then now I'm at a penthouse in Buckhead, in the same building as Neo and everybody, right? Then from that, I'm driving a Porsche. I don't even know how to drive. I literally learned how to drive in a Porsche Panamera. And everybody was like, I remember everybody was like, yo, why are you doing the most? Why are you getting a Porsche Panamera? I was like, I had a vision board when I had nothing. And this is what kept me going. My reality has to look like what I visualized.
Yeah.
For me to keep going. So people was like, oh, well, you're just trying to be extra. No. I had my dream car in my head. I had my dream apartment in my head. And once financially it started to make sense, I had to make sure those things that kept me up at night, that kept me going, I was rewarding myself in the process to keep going. Then I did that. Then I moved to LA because I took one writing trip to LA and I was in the studio with Mary J. Blige. I came back and packed my stuff. Worked with Nas, Mary J. Blige. I said, okay, yeah, I'm coming back and getting my bags. And I stayed. When I moved to LA, I drove from Atlanta to LA in the Porsche that I just got.
You took that drive? Oh, you crazy.
Stopped and dealt with like racist police officers on the way, asking me how I was able to afford that car. Stayed at this little like live-in hotel called the Boulevard for like maybe 2 months till I found somewhere to live. Moved into the NoHo 14, where at the time me, Big Sean, Frank Ocean all lived on that side, and none of us had record deals. It was a beautiful time. Stacey Barth, Sham, we would just have like Sunday fun days, and we were just like young and just in James Fauntleroy would just, but James was way more, he had already had no air. He was already a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
Like, yeah, so like I said, it was all big moments in my life. I've never really had a moment like I've had since the pandemic to really reflect on who I am, where I want to go, who I want to be, what do I want to do, you know, what do I want to be, what do I want to mean, what is my legacy. I've accomplished so much so young. Like, to most people, they're like, oh, you ain't shit. Well, you typing this from a Nokia. Like, address your shit before you come over here on this side.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing that always kills me about people. They haven't been able to deal with their own issues or deal with the home. I say it starts at the home, right? When you can address your issues there, then you can talk about what everybody else has going on in their path and their journey and their lane. But until you stay in your lane and still remain in your own car, too.
Yeah, I don't do well with projection. I don't like people trying to project their traumas onto me. Not to say I don't have my own childhood traumas, because I do. I have, you know, like I said, I deal with codependency, so many things. Like, it wasn't until like 3 years ago where I learned how to pay my own bills. You know what I mean? Like, I do feel like a lot of the attacks that I see trolls do to certain artists or certain people, like even some of the shit that motherfuckers will say on here, oh, you're messy. And then I'll go on their page and they're attacking everybody. Like, and it's like you projecting and you're not fooling nobody. Just have this same energy when the album come out. Keep clicking, keep watching, and keep doing this, you know?
Yeah, that's what they gotta do. Do we have a title for the project that you can
the album is called The Neon Eon. It's actually from a compilation. Yeah.
Come on, The Neon Eon. I like that.
Mm-hmm. And I can't wait for y'all to see the cover. So it's basically like, I was having a conversation in New York with the guys, and they were saying, like, because of the internet, music is getting to a place now where you can't limit it by genre anymore. It's going to be all types of colors, all types of walks of life, and it's going to be that way for eternity. So it's going to be called The Age of the Neon Eon. This is before Lil Nas came out, and, you know, there was a country song with 808s in it. And because back in the day, if you grew up in Florida, your upbringing was Trick Daddy and Trina. If you grew up in New York, you knew Biggie and Kim. If you grew up on the West Coast, you knew Tupac and that stuff. But and if you grew up in Nashville, you liked Garth Brooks because your parents liked Garth Brooks. But now, even as a kid, in the palm of your hands, you're hearing Ariana Grande, but you're also hearing old school Beatles. You're also hearing the Bee Gees. You're hearing Earth, Wind, and Fire. So those influences start early, and they affect how music is going to be made in the new generation, how they're going to produce it, and how it's going to. So that's what this project is for me. It's 808s. It's hard, heavy drums. It's gritty, but at the same time, it's got electronic elements because I love Radiohead. I love Coldplay. I love all that stuff. And then I'm churchy as hell. So you're going to hear church. And it's just a beautiful, colorful melting pot of different genres that make me who I am and make my contribution to music necessary.
Man, I'm looking forward to hearing all these elements, even the church side.
Yeah.
Because that's what I love about you. In spirituality, how important would you say it's been to stay centered and focused with God during this time, during the pandemic? Even though we're still in it, people feel like we're out of it. Newsflash, we're still here, folks. How has it been staying focused and keeping faith?
Being in the music industry, man, I've never been in a group of people that don't believe in God so much. And it's just interesting to me because, you know, the music industry grants certain people certain powers and positions where they feel like they're God. They feel like they can change and shift the needle so much, and they hire and fire so many people that they have a God complex. So in their mind, whatever the Bible describes God to be a religion, and I don't agree with religion all the way, but it's like, so now I walk in the room and I say Jesus, 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 just to see who catch on fire and who.
Right. And who but let's see how you're gonna react.
Yeah, because although I don't believe in the Bible word for word, and I don't agree with religion, I think that religion is a distraction from having a personal relationship with God. Yeah. I do believe in God, and it's the foundation I built my spirituality on. So that's important for me, and it keeps me going. You know what I mean? So that's a big thing for me, and it's heavily in how I sing, how I approach songs, how I like chords. You know what I mean? Like even one of my songs, the chords was inspired by like gospel music. You know, so it's still a big thing for me.
That's amazing.
But I will cut you out in Jesus' name, real quick. Because even
That's
Jesus
back
went up
up.
in the, even Jesus flipped over tables and you know what I mean, and spanked the king.
He probably did, and was
No,
getting
it's
them
in the
all
Bible. He
together.
went up in the temple when they
Yeah.
was selling the stuff, and yeah. So I don't know how they expected me to be perfect.
And that's the whole thing. When we are present on this earth, even when we get to heaven or hell, whichever wherever our last days call us to be, we still not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
God is the only one. Jesus Christ are the only perfect creatures,
Exactly.
individuals ever.
Yeah. And I realized that I don't care to be perfect. I care to be the best version of myself. And that means for me to be the best version of myself, if I'm constantly changing and I'm constantly evolving, that just all that requires is for me to be present. That's why I don't do any drugs that affect my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I barely smoke weed. I just literally was like, okay, well, shit, I wonder do I write it? Anytime I've ever like smoked weed has been because I felt like it was gonna make me write a song from a different perspective. But anything that could really like mess with my mind, I've never tried it. And people be like, oh, you afraid you're gonna like it? Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you spoke on something before I get to our last questions that we like to end with. You spoke about being that younger Elijah, staying up late at night. What keeps you up at night now in your creative space? Like, what are some of the thoughts that keep you up now?
These mixes on the album have been driving me crazy. I want them to be perfect. I'm always annoying as hell to engineers when it's time to mix the album. I'm hearing things like, where did this go? One time, like in the middle of them bouncing the song, like the song got slowed down to the point where the human ear, my engineer said the human ear should not even be able to hear it. I heard it. And he was like, no, it's not slower. And I was like, it is slower. And he was like playing them back to back. He was like, it's not slower. I was like, it does sound a little slower to me. And then he went and put it through something. He was like, yo, you are so insane with these mixes that somehow in the bounce, when you're converting it from Pro Tools into MP3 form, he's like, I converted it a certain type of way and it slowed it down to the point where you're not even supposed to be able to tell. He's like, but you were right. Like it was slower. So I get
it's all
like
about being in touch with music, like
because
really
it makes me feel a way. Like yeah. So these mixes have been driving me crazy, but they're coming out amazing. So I think I'm down to my last mix, and yeah, that's what keeps me up at night. Is making sure that the music that I've worked on for so long hits you, and you can hear every detail, and you can hear the space, you can hear the harmonies, you can hear the pockets, and like you can hear the horns. Because I spent time, I brought in a girl to do live strings. I brought another woman in to do live horns. Like those matter to me.
No, that's amazing. But you got to be on it about your art, and I think that's the biggest thing that people respect when it comes to their favorite artists is the fact of their attention to detail, putting the right songs on there, going with the right cover art and everything, and that's something that you're about. Always.
Yeah, in the words of Beyonce, I care. I know y'all don't care too much, but I still care. I do.
Yeah, you definitely do. So you talked about being a bold statement, not being afraid to, be who you are. And when you think about the man that you are, aside from being an artist, a son, a brother, a friend, a songwriter, what comes to mind when you think about what exemplifies you as well?
Like I said, man, I'm just in person. The Elijah Blake in music on my past project has been like super serious and super emo and deep. But when people meet me, they see like a big ass kid. I'm always laughing. I'm always goofy. I'm always playing jokes. I'm always cracking jokes. So with this project, I wanted to find a happy medium.
Yeah, and you always have a smile. That smile that you're rocking has always been there.
Because I love life, man. It's nobody's gonna take that away from me. Like I love life. I love people. I people watch, and I write songs in my head about their circumstance, and that's what it's gonna be, and that's what they're gonna get on this album.
Yeah, I'm excited, bro. I really
Thank
am.
you, man. Thank you for having me, bro, and thank you for letting me get this off. And I can't wait for y'all to hear the single.
Yeah, I can't wait too. You got to let me hear a preview.
I got you. When this is over in the morning, I will definitely hit you up and play it for you.
For sure. But no, I gotta say thank you because we've known each other for years, and the fact that we haven't talked in a while and stuff like that, and you hopped in on the live with me and Felicia and Fallon, and then you was like, yo, let me go in support, and then you hit me right after and was like, yo, we gotta catch up. I was like, yo, we definitely do. It's been some years.
You were one of the first outlets to support me, man. You were when nobody knew who Elijah Blake was, and I was at Essence, and you was there the first day I met. I remember I had just met Kim Burrell, and I was like, Kim Burrell, I love you. And
Right.
she was like, and she was like, I love you. And then afterwards, you were like, hey, Elijah, like, it's me, David. I still support you. And, you know, I remember things like that. Rihanna told me she remembers the first person to play her record. These are moments that artists never forget. So I'm in your corner like you was in mine, bro. So thank you again. And I can't wait to send you this private link so you can check out the record.
Yeah, I can't wait either. You remember the time I got in trouble for us doing an interview?
With who? Rock Nation?
Uh-huh.
Oh man, I don't remember.
So
like playing with. Let me tell you something. So many people used to call me and be like, "Yo, Rock was like, take this down." They was not playing. It probably was Jen who hit you.
I won't say who their name is and stuff like that, but I love her dearly, and we chat every now and then. So just to walk people into like how far our relationship goes back, it was a showcase. It was you, Bridgette, and then Melanie was performing as well. It was in New York. We were supposed to do an interview, but I think you had just left from Soundcheck. You came back, and we were going to do it after the performance. But you were like, I'm back. Do you want to just do it? I'm like, are you sure? You're like, yeah, no, it's fine. And then by the time publicists at the time came back, oh, it was all hell broke loose. I was like, no.
I kind of remember that. I went through hell on that tour. I ain't gonna say everything I went through. I went through hell on that tour. I remember I was on that tour one time, and Ro James came backstage. He was like, "Bro, breathe." he said, "You look pissed." I went through hell on that tour, but yeah, man, I thank God for it all, bro.
Yeah, because your journey has been amazing to see. So I gotta say, congratulations. I'm so proud of you. Everybody has to follow you. Where them know your social handle?
Sir Elijah Blake on all the platforms.
That's right. So make sure you guys follow next Friday. Trinidad James, the single Dreams. And the video's coming out next Friday as well, too, right?
No, the video comes out on the 30th.
Oh, okay. And then lastly, if you could describe this brand new project in 3 words, what would they be?
It would be fun. It would be cool, and it would be provocative. Provocative is the word.
Oh, I can't wait.
I can't wait for you to check it out.
Listen, that private link in the morning.
I got you, bro.
But you get some rest. You keep up the great work. I'm going to chat with you tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, Dave.
Anytime.
All right, for sure, bro. Yeah.
All right, later. All right, guys. So that was our surprise convo with my brother Elijah Blake. Make sure you guys follow him. Stay keeping it locked on Air with David Duane and David Duane, so you can follow us at On Air with David. And then right here, we do our weekly shows every Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 Pacific Time. So make sure you guys follow for all the information. Yes, this was our wrap up for our IG Live series, but you guys got to stay tuned because there might be a couple more surprises that happen later this week throughout the months. Just so many dope things are happening. So you guys have a great night. Stay blessed. Stay safe out there. Stay positive. Do what you love best. All right, later.